So let me get this straight, they've gone and made a 4K remaster of an HD remaster of an old console and PC game from 2003. And you know what? I still just can't ever seem to get into Beyond Good and Evil, and I have no idea why. I'm no crazy retro gamer, but I do sometimes like to go back to old games. Some that I've missed from the past, but not necessarily the type that I'll replay over and over again. I'm just not wired that way. Some attempts work better than others. Not too long ago, and especially thanks to stuff like Game Pass, I've been able to dig into some older games and try them out and, find out what all the fuss was about. One example of this would be something like Dante's Inferno, which I played a while back, and you know what, that game is old and dated and all the rest, but it was still felt really good and it was a lot of fun. And it had those old school God of War vibes, which are, games that you don't really get these days anymore. So that was really cool. Same went for something like Sleeping Dogs, where I played it years after it came out, and there's actually quite a big gap in the market for games like that right now. Because when it came out, it was just like Batman, and now they haven't released anything really solid like that. So it was fantastic and I really enjoyed it. And more importantly, on the Xbox at least, you can get upgrades on your performance to 60 FPS with FPS boost, and many of the games even bump up the resolution completely free. So I'm definitely not against going back to old games. Now, I never did play Beyond Good and Evil when it came out in 2003, but I have tried since, and more than once. So I have a question. Why is this remaster necessary? Xbox does this, as I said, to many existing games for free. I mean, when I was playing Psychonauts 2, now just to note, I hadn't played the original, and I started playing Psychonauts 2 and I loved it so much that I actually went and installed the original on Game Pass. It was the OG Xbox version, and they had bumped its, it was a bit janky in places, but they had bumped up its resolution automatically. And some of the menu items were a bit trashy, and the gameplay was a bit dated, but I actually landed up having such a good time that I finished the whole game before I went back and continued playing through Psychonauts 2. This is just my occasional reminder. If you haven't played Psychonauts 2 on anything, please play that game. It's really good. So back to Beyond Good and Evil. Psychonauts looked almost as good as this new remaster, and it cost me nothing. It was actually the old version just bumped up sort of for free, and if you're on a PC, then you're going to get a similar experience. You can just bump up the resolution and a few other things, and that's not even taking mods into account, but I'm not going to go down that route. The point here with Beyond Good and Evil is that, sure, they've done some texture updates and a few little additions, but it's nothing that mind-blowing. I wanted to see if I could actually boot up the HD remaster to compare, but I found out it was delisted not too long ago. But apparently that was only on Windows, but I couldn't even seem to find it to install it on Xbox unless it's actually replaced it on my library. I'm not sure exactly how that works. So releases like this normally lead up to sequels, and they're reminders to make you remember that this franchise exists because they're gonna, bring something else out new. But once again, it's just not gripping me, and it's not making me any more excited for the sequel. So many people speak fondly of Beyond Good and Evil, but I don't know, maybe the age is just too much, or maybe it's something else. I just don't know. I've enjoyed playing it a little bit, but again, it's just nothing that gripped me in a way that said, wow, this is why people love this, now I understand. Instead, I'm feeling a bit of its age. The biggest missed opportunity for me, though, is that in this age of remasters and remakes and a sequel still apparently on the way, even though it's been ridiculous, like 9 years or something since they showed it off at E3 that time. This would have been a perfect candidate for a modern remake with updated controls, new generation graphics to grip, a whole new generation of gamers. Instead, they've just gone and released this, a remaster of a game. Were they just really going for something that was like the absolute minimum input to, put something out there and maybe cash in a bit on a franchise, or try and, just build up a bit of interest for the next one? I don't know, but this doesn't seem to be working for me. I can't find any reason to really want to recommend this to anyone, because if you've already played this game, I think you have to be a super hardcore fan to want to go and get this again to play it, especially because it's got a few little added extras. But for most people who've played it, I don't see any reason to go back and play it like this again. And for someone like me who's never played it, that was maybe interested in going back and playing it, it hasn't done much to give me a reason to play it either. So if it's not for the established or the people who've played it already, and it's not for the people who haven't played it yet, I'm not exactly sure who this is for. So with that in mind, I can't really recommend the game, and I'm just sort of bummed that, it just seems like this is something that, came and went and missed me, and I'll just have to make do with that. All I can hope that if the sequel ever does come out, that they do something cool that I can get into and that I can enjoy. So let me know if you're a fan, if you've played the original, or if you've played the new one, or if you're interested in playing it again. Tell me what you think about this, because I'd really like to know. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button to let me know. I'll see you soon.
All right, boys, that's a wrap. Pack it up.